Yes. He's a hell of a lot of fun, isn't he?
Yes,
I mean,
there was in the spirit I could pick up that. And I actually found Werner Herzog. He was a great influence when I was about 18 or 19. Seeing Herzog's films, I saw Herzog's Heart of Glass in London, the same period as the Punk, and they had a profound effect. I remember walking around for the whole afternoon after seeing Heart of Glass in a wonderful daze. So, yeah.
Yes, he's very attracted to extremes, which is of course connected to states of mind.
Yeah.
And in a similar way, I mean, I wondered that there's always this idea in your work of the sublime there within something, like you were talking about how Breton and Cocteau were talking about that sort of thing, making, well, really essentially making the sublime concrete and vice versa.
Yeah.
Which is a mystical idea if you allow it to be, but otherwise it can just be a survival idea, really, that you can deal with the horror of reality by the fact that you can kind of sense something greater within it.
Yeah, and I think that's the really great art, all great art touches on that. In that, just that quote which I mentioned before, things are not what they seem, nor are they otherwise. So you have to, if you deal with the transcendent, if you like this North word transcendental, but you have to be very clear and you have to really anchor it in the real. Another great film, my favourite films of all time, is Stalker by Tarkovsky. Because you never really know in Stalker if there is something, if the zone really exists or not, or if it's just in the head of the stalker, or if the little girl in Stalker, if she really has psychic abilities, if she can make the glass move on the table at the end, or if the glass moving is just because the train's rumbling in the background and the table's vibrating. It's that razor's edge, that there is something there, maybe there isn't, but maybe there is.
Okay, the idea of practicing a form of meditation like Zen, can you have a religious experience in Zen?
Well, unfortunately religious is such a loaded word. Basically Zen empties you out, so you become empty. So the religious experience in Zen is it's insight into the emptiness of all things. And we're basically empty. I mean, an atom is 99.99999% emptiness. So you get, if you go deep enough into Zen, you stick with it long enough, you do get a little insight into the intrinsic emptiness of all things. And also the emptiness of the self. There's no self. There really is no self. There's no Gabriel, there's no Richard. There's a provisional self that we keep with us for most of our lives. But in the absolute sense, there's no self. The self is just a concept. It's a concept that it's helpful for us to navigate this world. But when it comes down to it, there's no self. The self's empty. And because everything is empty, everything's full of everything. If you allow yourself to become empty, then the world can reveal itself to you in a sparkling way. Zen's a little bit like, it unglues you from concepts. So much of the time we're caught up in our heads, we're caught up in thoughts and concepts about ourselves and the world. I should be like this, or I'm like this, she's like that, woe is me. But you begin to see through that all those concepts are empty, they're impermanent. Thoughts come, thoughts go. And you accept that.
Yeah, on a more sort of pragmatic level, it's sort of opened you. I mean, obviously you've been interested in Japanese writing, you told me about that. And it seems that the Zen thing has connected you with other literary traditions, with Basho and with this Haibun tradition that, I don't know, I mean, that's quite an early network of dissolving threads, and that seems that it's been written in that, well, some of it has. The
first part is Haibun. Haibun is a mixture of verse and prose, and again it's an accepted Japanese literary genre. And again, when I didn't actually really understand that Haibun was a literary genre when I wrote this. I knew about haiku, and so I started to mix haiku with prose, and it just worked. It was
you did it naturally.
I did it naturally,
Fantastic.
And then just later on, I found out that it's called Haibun.